Hi, I'm Anna Baltzer, Director of Organizing and Advocacy at the U.S. Campaign for Palestinian Rights. This is part 2 of our 3-part series on BDS. In this video, I'll be talking about how to prepare your BDS campaign. We're also launching our new BDS toolkit with all this information and much more, which you can find and download at uscpr.org/BDS toolkit. And you can always find tons of information about BDS on the global website bdsmovement.net. So, there are many different kinds of BDS campaigns, and it's up to your group to determine what campaign is right for your local context. Divestment campaigns can be getting your university, city, church, union, or pension fund to divest from corporations complicit in Israeli apartheid. There are a lot of different types of boycotts. Municipal boycotts. For example, your city ends contracts with security company G4S. Consumer boycott. For example, a co-op deshelves Israeli products, or a church declares itself HP-free. Dock workers refusing to unload Israeli cargo is a form of boycott. Cultural boycott. For example, a celebrity cancels a performance in Israel, or a U.S. event by Israeli cultural ambassadors is canceled. Academic boycott. For example, a university association ends collaboration with Israeli academic institutions. Sports boycott. For example, a U.S. team refuses to play against official Israeli teams, or Israel gets suspended from FIFA. Boycott pinkwashing. For example, a parade that projects Israel as a beacon of LGBTQ freedom, which is something Israel uses as a progressive badge to whitewash and distract from its war crimes. Boycott greenwashing. For example, protest an exhibit at a tech or eco conference that presents Israel as a progressive country on the cutting edge of environmental progress, distracting from the catastrophic environmental and human destruction wrought by its occupation. Anti-normalization campaigns are about boycotting events, commonly framed as dialogue, that bring together Palestinians and/or Arabs with Israelis who do not support Palestinians' basic rights. These events, which often appeal to progressives, talk about building peace and healing through dialogue, presenting the issue as interpersonal rather than systemic. There can be no reconciliation without challenging the structures of oppression that prevent any real possibility of peace or reconciliation. Needless to say, there are a lot of possible campaigns. But before choosing one, here are some best practices for building your campaign first. So one common mistake is getting excited about a campaign and then trying to recruit lots of people to join you. Building your group first helps ensure that everyone feels a sense of ownership over the target that they pick together, which you'll need for the long haul. Start by building relationships and establishing a foundation of trust and shared principles within a broader anti-oppression framework. Center Palestinian leadership, youth, and other marginalized voices. If your group does not reflect the diversity of your community, there is something wrong. You can read the toolkit for great tips on how to build and keep healthy, broad coalitions, and to tackle head-on dynamics of race, class, and gender. They always come up. Finally, build and entrust new leaders. Don't volunteer to do every media interview yourself or write every op-ed. Don't become the face of your campaign. If you have a leadership position in your organization, it's your responsibility to also make leaders out of others. And it's okay if people aren't perfect on the first try. We all learn from our mistakes. Sharing control and distributing who is the face of the campaign decreases resentment and builds a collaborative and creative group environment. So, you've got your healthy group together. Which campaign are you going to pick? There are a lot of choices. What's right in one place might not be right in another. You know your community. Anyway, here are some steps and considerations as you pick the target that makes sense for you. Every campaign begins with a lot of research. The target of your campaign will be whoever has the decision-making power to fulfill your demand. Find out who it is and whether they're likely to be responsive. Do they have a history of social responsibility? Luckily, the research on corporate complicity in the occupation has already been done for you. Visit afsc.org/investigate, where you can scan portfolios to identify divestment targets, learn about corporate complicity, and whoprofits.org lists more than 500 occupation profiteers. But a cautionary note, your campaign shouldn't be a laundry list of companies for everyone to boycott individually. BDS is about collective action. Pick one target and do it really well. The BNC has a list of 3 main criteria for picking a BDS campaign. Number 1, what is the potential for success? Is your campaign winnable? Is your target likely to be responsive? Have they showed an interest in social justice before? Do they have a code of ethics? And do you have access to your target? What institutions are you connected to? Who is your community and where do you have leverage? Number 2, will it help build coalitions with other social justice struggles? Occupation profiteering corporations are often the same ones building the US-Mexico wall, defending Dakota Access Pipeline construction, and running US detention centers. US and Israeli police trade practices on repression and population control. The same US-made tear gas is used to repress resistance from Ferguson to Palestine. Will the campaign build broad awareness and support for Palestine? Is it easy to explain? Is it appealing to everyday people? And does it have the potential to generate enough local controversy to catch the attention of media and even local officials? By the way, you don't have to start from scratch. You can join ongoing national and international campaigns connecting with large networks to seek advice and share resources. Finally, and this is really important, the strongest campaigns are those where local wins build ground toward affecting policy at the city, state, and/or federal levels. We want our B and D campaigns to build toward the S, sanctions. We are getting stronger and we need to reject the monopoly that politicians, lobbyists, and other elite groups claim to have on policy. Municipal campaigns are a great way to educate and build relationships with city officials. What about a resolution to end contracts with or divest from occupation profiteers? Or a resolution calling for an end to US military aid to Israel? Or a resolution endorsing BDS? Even if it doesn't pass the first time, imagine the educational and media impact it will have had. Even a campus divestment resolution can include a demand to your city council. So you've built your group and chosen your target. Now it's time to prepare. First, start with a soft ask. You wouldn't believe how often groups forget this part. Reach out privately and respectfully to your target, asking them to do the right thing. You might just be surprised. It's happened before. Plus, escalating tactics before giving your target a chance to comply with your demand can actually backfire. If your campaign includes passing a resolution, check out our new toolkit for lots of tips on resolution writing so you don't have to start from scratch. Reach out for endorsements from celebrities, local officials, Palestinian groups, Jewish Voice for Peace's Rabbinical Council, and other local groups inside your community, including from other social justice communities. Before reaching out to other movements, ask yourself whether you've been showing up for them, not to bring the issue of Palestine, but because you are invested in their liberation struggles. Don't try to recruit other marginalized communities by telling them how their struggles link up with Palestine. Let them find the connections for themselves. Obviously, if you're seeking a campaign led by groups across movements, then this outreach should happen before picking your target. You don't have to do it alone. There are so many national and international organizations out there that can support you. The BDS National Committee is the global authority on BDS, offering a great website and answers to strategic questions. The U.S. Campaign for Palestinian Rights can provide organizing support, technology, and connections to the broader network of BDS activists. AFSC and Who Profits offer up-to-date research on corporate targets. Palestine Legal offers legal support in the face of repression. National Students for Justice in Palestine is made up of student activists who mentor and support each other. Friends of Sabeel North America offers strong organizing support, especially for faith-based and municipal campaigns. Jewish Voice for Peace has a huge base and staff with lots of organizing experience. And many of these organizations can help you reach a wide audience, and you can and you can find contact info for all of them in our new toolkit. And please reach out early rather than last minute. Map your allies. Which ones have most access to your target, and how can they be leveraged? For example, if it's a city council campaign, do you have one or more council members to put forward and fight for your resolution? Map your opposition too, to see where you have power, but they don't. Identify your goals, not just the final end goal, but short and midterm goals along the way. Your goals should be SMART, specific, measurable, achievable or attainable, relevant, for example, or fitting into your overall strategy, that is, and time-bound. For example, set a goal for how many petition signatures you're hoping to have in the short term and by what exact date. Same with organizational endorsements. How many and by when? Build a timeline of your goals that will build momentum and pressure on your target. Build in periodic evaluations to reflect on how effective you've been and if you need to fine-tune or change course. Your goals and timeline should be a living document. They're not set in stone. A strong online presence is important. Maybe put together a website, Facebook and Twitter accounts, Instagram, logo, swag. An easily identifiable and visually appealing logo will go a long way. Here are a bunch from Students for Justice in Palestine chapters. You can make t-shirts, and buttons, and other swag with a good logo and tagline. So that concludes part 2 of our 3-part series on how to run an effective BDS campaign. Be sure to check out part 3 for info on how to launch your campaign, build pressure on your target with strategic tactics, keep your campaign energized along the ups and downs, and what to do after you win. Visit uscpr.org/BDS Toolkit to share these videos and to download the toolkit. And as always, you can find the best information about BDS on the global website bdsmovement.net. Thanks for joining.